Clinton painted a pretty positive picture of our economy in her acceptance speech last night. She thanked President Obama and Vice President Joe Biden for, quote, digging us out of a hole after the second worst financial crisis in history. But in the light of day, the picture is not so perfect, folks. The U.S. economy grew far less than expected. This number came out today for second quarter GDP, 1.2%. The expectation from economists was 2.6%. Emily Tisch Sussman is a Democratic strategist. Brad Blakeman is a Republican strategist and former deputy assistant to President George W. Bush. Emily, this is a super slow-mo recovery here. It lands very hollow when Hillary Clinton is trying to say, thank you, President Obama. We are growing so slowly that it is almost agonizing. How does she square her message with what Americans really see with these numbers?
Well, everything she talked about over the entire course of the week in the convention was a positive vision for the country. She very seriously and precisely acknowledged pain that people are feeling, both because of job loss and because their wages have not been growing quickly enough. And they don't feel like there's prospects necessarily in the sectors they've been working in before. She acknowledged that right off the bat, and she talked about that squarely. But her vision that she put forward during the entire convention was a positive one. It was a positive one for the country moving forward. It was one of inclusivity, and it was a stark contrast to the Republican convention the week before, which was really just about fear-mongering. And that was what she needed to do. She needed to put forward a positive message and a positive vision forward so that her candidacy does not become about, well, she's not Trump, but it's actually about something for the country.
I get it, but Brad, Donald Trump was given in kind of a twisted way a really wonderful talking point of a gift here with this GDP number, and yet he spent most of the day tweeting insults at Hillary and rebutting anything that she said. Why didn't he seize upon this number?
You would think that he would have done just exactly that. Look, our convention was about telling the truth, warts and all. Hillary didn't talk about the economy because she's tied to the economy because she was part of the process by which foreign policy had a lot to do with the state of our economy, and she was part of the Obama administration. But here's one thing we know. People are looking for work, not fast enough getting employed. Kids are staying in school because they can't find jobs. And this is an economy that is not working for the vast amount of Americans. Don't take my word for it. 70% of Americans feel America is on the wrong track. No talk at the Democratic Convention about debt reduction or balanced budgets, only about free college.
Well,
and
listen, I would argue,
health care.
I would argue, too, for both of you. Hold on, Emily, because I really want your opinion on this. For both of you, both candidates, what they articulated was big or bigger government. We could put up Hillary's. Hillary was talking about Wall Street will pay their fair share. That's called taxes. First 100 days, she's going to pass the biggest, what she called the job creator. That's stimulus, free college tuition for the middle class, raising the federal minimum wage to at least $12 an hour. Donald Trump, for his part, expanding the military, expanding law enforcement, building the wall, making child care affordable for working moms. That to many people looks like a subsidization. Preserving Social Security. He wants a minimum wage at $10 an hour. Emily, where is the smaller government?
Well, I mean, what the government that Hillary is talking about is smart government. It's ways that helps people from the middle class out, help people get up from the bottom, help stabilize them and their families. That's the kind of government she's talking about. And she was specific in her speech last night that it would not go unpaid for. It would not increase the debt. And in fact, she had a specific way, as you mentioned, to pay for it. Everything Trump has talked about and many of those policies he's given lip service to, but doesn't actually really have a plan in any way to implement them. But everything he talks about is bigger and bigger government. I mean, he was essentially talking about a nationalized police force in his speech.
Well, yeah,
and there's no acknowledgement that
Brad rebuttal to that because there was a lot of talking about expanding things. That takes money.
It does take money, but Donald Trump is talking about prioritizing. Is you take from somewhere else to increase where your priorities are needed.
Yes, but if not
elsewhere.
Social Security, then where?
No, but here's the point. Is Donald Trump said that we have to start solving problems. That's what the American people are so upset about. That's why they want an outsider. We have to reform entitlements. We have to reform Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. We have to get rid of Obamacare. This is so much of what the Democrats have kicked the can down the road in the last 8 years. This is a problem that can no longer be solved another day.
Okay.
I made up a new English word. It's called being a momentarian. That's our problem. We live in the moment at the expense of the future.
Well,
that's why Donald Trump is catching on, is because he's going to be a problem solver. It's not creating more government. It's prioritizing where we need to spend our money and concentrate our efforts.
It may be very uncomfortable for everyone to hear this, but it sounds like everybody on both sides has to do some belt tightening. We'll see if it happens.
Absolutely.
We started with Emily. We'll end with Brad. Thanks to both of you very much on a very, very busy day.